Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to be joined by Ken Trautman, the president and CEO of People's Bank. Ken, good to see you again.
Good to be here.
So tell us, before we get into your work at People's, you're also the chairman of the Oregon Bankers Association. Tell us, what is that group and what is your role there?
Well, Oregon Banking Association represents the 24 state chartered banks in the state of Oregon and the half a dozen national chartered banks for regulatory issues, legislative issues coming up. A lot of different things going on in the banking world, especially from the congressional area, and we're there to represent our banking industry.
Yeah, and with things always changing in the world of finance, kind of what's happening right now, where do we stand?
Well, we're just going through trying to wrap up some of the items that were passed over the last 3 or 4 years with Dodd-Frank and all the new rules coming out, dealing with appraisals and mortgage lending and foreclosures. And we've had some good things happen out of that, and some laws still being written. Right now we've got Basel III, which deals with bank capital levels, and that one's working its way through the system. So lots of new opportunities, lots of new things to deal with.
Okay, and have other Southern Oregons before you been in charge of the group?
Well, we've from a banking association, Bill Castle, who was the CEO of South Valley Bank in Klamath Falls, was our president about 4 or 5 years ago. And most banks are in the Willamette Valley and Portland area, sure. So that's a pretty well-represented group.
I would imagine. Okay. Now, going to People's Bank, president and CEO currently of People's. Tell us kind of what's happening. You guys are thriving right now where many other community banks have failed. What are you guys doing so correctly?
It's a good question. I was speaking with the state governor's economic council, and they asked the same question. What's happening in Southern Oregon? And we're a little different for what's happened to our bank versus the industry. Southern Oregon was dominated by a group of regional banks that had some trouble. We were able to keep our nose clean and take advantage of really growth opportunities while the rest of our competitors couldn't. So it's been really actually a pretty strong 3-year period for us. Growth rates have exceeded 15% for the last 3 years for us.
Very nice. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have much more with Ken in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Ken Trautman from People's Bank. Ken, what are you most excited about in the latter half of 2013?
Well, we're right at the tail end of a capital campaign. We've had such phenomenal growth that we've had to go out to the community and raise additional capital to continue that growth. So we're trying to raise $5 million. We're about 2/3 of the way through, so on the last bit, so that local community's done a great job supporting us. We're looking for more folks that like to be a shareholder in a local community bank.
And you guys are expanding. You opened a branch in Grants Pass. Tell us, how's that going?
Well, we're right in the process. Right now, we've hired a manager for the Grants Pass area, trying to find a location. And we think we have a temporary site. Whether we find an existing bank we can move into, or if we go ahead and remodel or tear down or build a brand new building, is kind of where we are right now. Good market. Usually, we've been a lot of inquiries from Grants Pass business owners in the community wanting to know if we'll come in. They've had a lot of consolidation, a lot of mergers of their local banks, so it's a great opportunity for us.
And going along with that, how is the local economy? What are you seeing over there at People's Bank?
It's starting to really pick up, and it usually starts with the residential side. For the last 5 years, no one wanted to build a home, and probably didn't make sense to do because you could buy them a lot cheaper. But now all of a sudden, the shortage of houses has created an opportunity for builders. That creates employment for our subcontractors, our suppliers. It really is a strong indicator of what's happening in the community. That's residential. Commercial's still a little slow, and that usually lags the residential activity by a couple years. But we're starting to see some activity in that, so we're looking for a lot better 2014.
Very good. Okay. All right. Now, a question I love to ask bankers, and forgive me, you probably see this coming. Are banks lending? What would you like to say to people out there?
They really aren't. If you look at us as an example, we had over 20% loan growth last year. The year before that, close to 15%. This year, we're averaging over 20%. And that's not unusual. Banks are really trying to find qualified borrowers. It's been a tough market for business activity. Most people have been a little shy about wanting to borrow. So it's not so much the banks wanting to or not wanting to lend, it's getting the borrowers who want to borrow and grow their businesses and add employees. And we're seeing a little more activity on that side, so feeling a lot more positive.
Very good. Ken, great to see you again. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for inviting us.
Appreciate it. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.